Let's get right into it. Number 8, that constant déjà vu feeling. You know that weird sensation where you feel like you've experienced something before? Most people get it occasionally, maybe once in a while when they walk into a room or hear a song. But imagine if that feeling never went away. Picture sitting down to watch a brand new movie and being absolutely convinced you've seen every single scene before. Or meeting someone for the first time but feeling certain you've had this exact conversation with them last week. Your brain has this complex system for processing memories and recognizing familiar situations. But sometimes the wiring gets crossed. It's like having a smoke detector that keeps going off even when there's no fire. Your temporal lobe starts sending these false familiarity signals constantly. Everything feels like a rerun even when you know for certain it's happening for the first time. People dealing with persistent déjà vu often stop trying new things altogether. They'll avoid watching movies, reading books, or going to new places because everything feels overwhelmingly familiar. Some folks describe it as being trapped in a mental prison where nothing ever feels fresh or exciting. The worst part is when you start questioning your own sanity. You know logically that you've never been somewhere before, but your brain keeps insisting otherwise. This isn't just your mind playing harmless tricks. When déjà vu becomes a constant companion instead of an occasional visitor, it could be your brain's way of waving a red flag about something more serious happening upstairs. If you're experiencing this way more often than normal, or if that familiar feeling just won't leave you alone, it might be time to have someone take a look at what's going on in there. That's all for this topic, but if you want to see more videos like this one breaking down the hidden warning signs your mind sends you, hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started. Number 7, losing chunks of time. Ever drive somewhere and suddenly realize you're at your destination with zero memory of the actual journey? Or maybe you sit down to check your phone for a minute and somehow 4 hours have vanished into thin air. These aren't just moments of being distracted or zoning out. They're your brain hitting the fast forward button without asking permission. Your mind has this incredible ability to warp time based on what's happening in your life. When you're stressed or overwhelmed, minutes can stretch out like taffy. But when you're trying to escape from something difficult, entire chunks of your day can disappear without a trace. It's like your brain decides to edit out the boring or painful parts of your life movie. Research shows that people dealing with burnout often report these time slips getting progressively worse. They'll look at their calendar and realize they can't remember anything specific about the past month. Days blur together into this hazy mess where nothing feels distinct or memorable. You might start a simple task like folding laundry and suddenly it's dark outside and you're holding the same shirt you picked up hours ago. These episodes aren't random glitches. They're your mind's way of saying you're running from something. Maybe it's work stress, relationship problems, or deeper emotional issues you haven't dealt with. Your brain essentially goes into autopilot mode to protect you from whatever's causing the distress. But here's the problem with that protection mechanism. When you're constantly escaping into these time warps, you're not actually dealing with the underlying issues. Next time you snap back to reality and realize hours have mysteriously evaporated, pay attention to what might have triggered it. What were you thinking about right before the time slip happened? What situation or feeling were you trying to avoid? Your brain is trying to communicate something important through these disappearing acts. Number 6, when your reflection feels like a stranger. Picture this scenario. You walk into your bathroom one morning, look in the mirror, and suddenly feel like you're staring at someone else entirely. Your face looks exactly the same as always, but something feels fundamentally wrong. It's like watching a really convincing deep fake of yourself, where everything appears correct but feels completely artificial. Your brain has this sophisticated network specifically designed for recognizing faces, especially your own. But when you're under extreme pressure, dealing with severe sleep deprivation, or going through intense emotional turmoil, this system can short circuit. Scientists have a name for this phenomenon, and it happens when your sense of self temporarily disconnects from your physical body. One minute you're brushing your teeth like you do every morning, and the next, you're having a full-blown identity crisis with your own reflection. The person in the mirror moves when you move and looks exactly like you, but something deep in your brain keeps insisting that's not really you staring back. Number 5, emotional flatline mode. Imagine being at your best friend's wedding where everyone around you is laughing, crying, happy tears, and dancing like there's no tomorrow. but you're standing there feeling absolutely nothing. Not bored, not sad, not happy. Just completely empty, like you're watching the whole celebration through thick, bulletproof glass. Your emotions are supposed to be like a radio with different stations playing throughout the day. Sometimes it's upbeat music, sometimes it's a sad ballad, maybe some angry rock when someone cuts you off in traffic. But now it's like someone unplugged the radio entirely. The screen is blank, and no matter which buttons you press, nothing happens. Your brain isn't broken when this happens. It's actually trying to protect you, like a computer that starts shutting down programs when it's overheating. When there's too much emotional input coming at you all at once, your mind flips the circuit breaker to prevent a complete meltdown. Scientists have found this numbness often kicks in when people are drowning in stress or trauma. Most folks think this means they're handling things well. They'll tell themselves they're being strong or mature about difficult situations, but handling things well doesn't mean feeling nothing at all. It's like driving a car when the oil light comes on. Sure, you can keep going for a while, but eventually something's going to break down if you ignore the warning signs. When you can't feel joy at celebrations, sadness at funerals, or even anger when someone treats you badly, that's your brain sending up flares. It's trying to get your attention because something deeper needs to be addressed. Feeling nothing isn't the same as feeling fine. If you're finding these warning signs hitting close to home, make sure to subscribe because we're diving into even more mind-bending topics that could change how you see yourself. Number 4, reality feels like a movie set. Ever have those moments where everything around you suddenly looks fake? Like someone turned down the saturation on the entire world, and you're just an actor going through the motions on some elaborate movie set. The grocery store feels like a Hollywood soundstage. Conversations sound like poorly dubbed dialogue, and even your own voice seems to be coming from somewhere else entirely. You might be talking to your coworker about weekend plans when suddenly it feels like you're watching someone else have that conversation. You can see yourself nodding and responding, but it's like you're floating somewhere above your own body, observing this weird performance of your life. Everything looks the same but feels completely artificial, like a detailed video game where the graphics are perfect, but something's still obviously off. Your brain uses this disconnect as an emergency brake when reality becomes too overwhelming to process normally. Think of it like your mind's way of saying, this is too intense right now, so we're going to put some distance between you and what's happening. It's actually a pretty clever survival mechanism when used occasionally. But here's where it becomes a serious red flag. When that movie-like feeling doesn't fade away after a few minutes or hours, when days start feeling like you're permanently stuck behind a camera, watching your life unfold on a screen instead of actually living it. When the world stays looking flat and artificial, like everything's made of cardboard props, the more you worry about these feelings, the stronger they tend to get. It becomes this frustrating cycle where the detachment makes you anxious, and the anxiety makes the detachment worse. If reality keeps feeling like a badly directed film where you're both the star and the confused audience member, that's your cue to reach out for help. Number 3, emotional whiplash central. Picture your feelings as a roller coaster, but instead of fun thrills, you're dealing with these extreme mood swings that make zero sense. One day you feel like you could conquer the world, start 5 new businesses, and stay up all night planning your empire. You're talking a mile a minute, making big purchases, and everything seems absolutely brilliant. Then comes the crash. Suddenly you can barely drag yourself out of bed. Tasks that seemed exciting yesterday now feel impossible. Answering a simple text message feels like climbing Mount Everest, and activities you normally love seem completely pointless. It's like someone keeps flipping your emotional light switch from blinding brightness to complete darkness. These aren't just regular good days and bad days that everyone experiences. We're talking about extreme highs where you feel superhuman, followed by devastating lows where you question everything about your existence. The switches can happen rapidly, sometimes within hours or days, leaving you feeling like you're constantly strapped into an emotional roller coaster you never bought a ticket for. During the high periods, you might make decisions that seem brilliant in the moment but look completely reckless later. Maybe you quit your job to pursue some grand vision, or you spend money you don't have on projects that suddenly seem essential. Then when the low hits, you're left dealing with the consequences while feeling like you can barely function. This kind of emotional whiplash isn't just being moody or dramatic. It's your brain waving a giant red flag that something's seriously out of balance. Life shouldn't feel like you're constantly being thrown between emotional extremes without any control over the ride. Number 2, everything connects conspiracy mode. Imagine walking down the street and suddenly noticing the number 47 everywhere. License plates, store addresses, the time on your phone, even the number of steps to your front door. At first, it feels magical, like the universe is sending you secret messages through everyday coincidences. Your brain starts working overtime, connecting more and more random things together into this elaborate web of meaning. That red car drives by right when you're thinking about your ex who always wore red shirts. The song playing in the coffee shop has lyrics that seem to perfectly describe your current situation. Even cloud formations start looking like important symbols meant specifically for you. Our brains evolved to be pattern spotting machines because back in prehistoric times, recognizing patterns could mean the difference between spotting a predator and becoming lunch. But sometimes this pattern recognition software goes completely haywire. We start seeing meaningful connections in totally random events. Scientists call this finding significance in meaningless data, and it's like your brain becomes a conspiracy theorist about everyday life. Everything starts feeling loaded with hidden meaning. The color blue becomes significant. That specific bird that keeps showing up outside your window must be trying to tell you something important. Every conversation you overhear seems to contain clues about your destiny. While this can feel profound and even exciting at first, it becomes exhausting when your brain is constantly working overtime to decode imaginary messages. You start feeling like you're living in some cosmic puzzle where every detail matters, but you're never quite sure what any of it actually means. If you find yourself getting lost in these endless connections, remember that sometimes coincidences are just coincidences. Your brain is doing what brains do best, which is finding patterns, but not every pattern needs to be solved or contains some deeper truth about your life. Number 1, the phantom notification syndrome. Picture this scenario. You're sitting quietly, maybe reading or watching TV, when suddenly you feel your phone buzzing in your pocket. You reach for it expecting to see a text or notification, but the screen is completely blank. No missed calls, no messages, nothing. But you swear you felt that buzz, maybe even heard the notification sound. This isn't just about being addicted to your phone or checking it too often. We're talking about your brain creating sensations that aren't actually happening. It's like having phantom limb syndrome, but instead of missing a body part, your mind is so connected to your device that it starts imagining signals that don't exist. Your nervous system becomes so primed to receive digital input that it starts firing off false alarms. You might hear your ringtone when you're in the shower, feel vibrations when your phone is sitting across the room, or even see the screen light up when it's completely powered off. These phantom notifications can happen dozens of times per day for some people. What makes this particularly concerning is how it reveals just how deeply our brains have rewired themselves around constant digital stimulation. Your nervous system is essentially in a state of hypervigilance, constantly scanning for input that might not be there. It's like having a smoke detector that's so sensitive it goes off when you breathe too heavily near it. This phantom buzzing often gets worse during periods of stress or anxiety. Your brain is already on high alert, so it starts manufacturing the very stimulation it's desperately seeking. You become trapped in this cycle where you're constantly checking for messages that don't exist, which makes your brain even more primed to imagine future phantom notifications. When your mind starts creating digital signals out of thin air, it's showing you just how dependent your nervous system has become on external validation and stimulation. Your brain is essentially experiencing withdrawal symptoms even when your phone is right there in your hand. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.